So we're going to talk about a wolves in sheep clothing today. Disgraced demonic officer Theodore Dyer, who was strangled and beaten to death in his prison cell after he was convicted for viciously abusing a child in the worst way possible. These predators aren't the ones that hide in the shadows. They're the ones that are in plain sight. They are the officers, they are the coaches, the neighbors. They are the ones that see vulnerability, whether you just got out of a hard relationship or you're just mad at your partner and you're venting and saying, this motherfucker left me for dead and this and that, and I gotta fix this, I can't afford that. They come in, I'll fix it. You know, they're the neighbor. They're always the person you least expect because they think in their head there is nobody that's gonna come here and protect our family. Remember this guy? Yeah, this is the story of the person he did this to. Disgraced Officer Theodore Dyer was a officer from Grand Haven, Michigan. This piece of shit was on his way out, ready to retire. Married, no children, and that's when it all went bad. Susan, who is a single mother of a 9-year-old little girl, just got out of a fucked up relationship, moved into the neighborhood, and was starting to work. She's telling this man, oh, fuck my ex, piece of shit. He won't help us with this, help us with that. I gotta work so much. And when she found out he was a police officer, he was married, had no kids, she thought she hit the jackpot as far as neighbors. Yet, this piece of shit demon from hell, he was just looking at this and saying, wow, so there is no man that's gonna come here and fucking kill me. Huh, there is no one that's gonna come here and protect them. Ooh, I could really do this. I could do damage, because that's how these coward, demonic motherfuckers do. They won't come in there if Susan would have said, listen, my ex is crazy as fuck. He's always watching out for our daughter, but could you please help us? That motherfucker would have ran for the hills. So she was desperate, which is understandable, and she was frustrated. So they got closer and closer. As you know, they're neighbors. He's a retired cop. He's playing the game. If he could do 20 years in law enforcement, a single mother with a kid who has to work 2 shifts and is going through a hard divorce, that's easy for him. So as Susan and him get closer, she decides she's going to start leaving her 9-year-old daughter with him and his wife. In her mind, she's saving money on daycare. She's able to trust the person that's watching her kid. And that's when everything went to hell. She had that motherly instinct. Something wasn't right. Her daughter was off. Parents know, especially moms. She pretends like she's going to work one day, sneaks into the piece of shit's house, looks in, and sees the most horrific thing you can imagine. The demon from hell, the disgraced officer, was doing the worst to her 9-year-old daughter. She immediately runs in there, snaps, grabs her daughter, asks her, like, what the fuck is going on? How long has this been going on? The daughter comes clean. They call the cops. He gets arrested. He gets sentenced to 25 to 50 years in prison. Well, let's get to the real justice, right? Now, this piece of shit, who was an officer for over 20 years, if he did this to one person, just imagine how many victims are out there that he was able to manipulate the system to win. This wasn't his first go-around. This was the 100th go-around, I guarantee it. Especially an officer, he was probably in there, able to manipulate, put people in bad situations, playing the puppet master. Sick fucks. And I guarantee there's so many people that were complaining and saying so much that this motherfucker did, and the system just looked the other way. And like I always say, it takes a fucking person to literally catch them red-handed for anything to happen. But the justice doesn't happen in the courtroom. It happens in the prison cell. So back to the story. Remember this dude? Yeah, everyone's seen this dude. Everyone's heard what he's had to say, but no one knows the true story. So they share a prison cell in Michigan. That is Mr. Sanderson. He's doing a life sentence for committing a murder, a drug crime, whatever. He's doing a life sentence for a violent crime. And if you watch that situation, he doesn't ever try to say he's this great guy. He committed a fucked up crime and he knew he should do life. He says it himself. But one thing he didn't do was hurt a child. That's a no-no. So they put this piece of shit, Theodore Dyer, in his cell. Sanderson is known as a dude that is solid and will hurt these fuckers at any chance he gets. Sometimes people have been hurt themselves and they go after them. Sometimes they've had family members, or sometimes they're just known to just take all their rage and anger out on these piece of shit motherfuckers because they missed their own family. Whatever it is, accidents happen. A guy that has a history of going after chomos, predators in prison because something had happened to him when he was younger, gets one of the most vile creatures put in his cell. Damn, it is what it is. So as Sanderson says, one night they're talking and dude kind of starts really going into why he's there. Sanderson's a lifer. He's trying to just do easy time. And one thing he always asks the officers is, do not put a chomo in my cell. Ask in prison and you will not receive. So they put a chomo in his cell. This piece of shit we're talking about. He starts going on about how he was set up and blah, trying to justify it. So that's when Sanderson made up his mind. He waited for the final count, lights out, and waited for the officer to do his last little walk around. They come around your cells usually every 15 to 20 minutes. Knew he had enough time to do this. Jumps off his bunk after telling the dude to shut the fuck up and that he's gonna have to get out of the cell in the morning. Or at least that's what he said to the investigating officers. Jumped off the bunk, started punching this chomo motherfucker in the face. After he seen that he was in a position, he took his shoelace, wrapped it around his neck until he choked him and strangled him to death with his shoelace. In prison, anything's a weapon. Anything. When you kill somebody like that, it's a statement and it shows that that's very intimate. You could have stabbed the guy, you could have done so much more, but you beat him and strangled him with your shoelace. It shows the hate that man had towards these chomo motherfuckers. So what does he do? He ain't gonna make the block hot over a chomo. He tucks him back into bed, makes sure he's dead, makes him look asleep, goes back on his bunk, says he slept like a baby that night. Wakes up for breakfast, they find him dead. They say, Sanderson, what the fuck happened? What do you mean? I told you guys, don't put a chomo in my cell. He started telling me what he did. I killed him. It is what it is. This is more of what he said.
The reason I killed him was because he was a child molester.
He ultimately got brought out to court and got another life sentence. Fuck it. I think it was life with the possibility of parole. He didn't give a fuck. Even the judge who sentenced Dyer, the piece of shit chomo, to 25 to 50 years, basically said, Sanderson, you basically are a better judge than I am. So once again, a wolves in sheep clothing. Always going after the vulnerable, kids in our society, women, children, and they're never the ones you expect. Don't ever invite a predator in. They see any weakness, they're gonna come in. If they know that there's not someone there that's gonna come and try to hurt them or be vigilant, they're gonna come right in and act like that. You tell them you're broke, they got money. You tell them they need something fixing, oh, they're fucking handymen. You tell them you need a babysitter, I'm a police officer and I'm married. Come on, bring your daughter. You guys get the point here. All you gotta do is tell them, even if it's a lie, like, yeah, I'm going through a rough divorce, but at least her dad is vigilant and he's crazy, and anybody that hurts her, he will kill. So I'm glad you're my neighbor. You mind watching her? Watch how quick that motherfucker hides in his house, because he's a coward. And all he'll ever be known for is as a chomo that got choked to death by a shoelace in prison. Fuck him. Stay out, stay free. Us.
The reason I killed him was because he was a child molester.
But you did in fact kill him.
Oh,